Gilbert George, το δίδυμο από το Λονδίνο. Δύο άνθρωποι, ένας καλλιτέχνης. Έτσι θέλουν να συστήνονται. Τους συναντήσαμε στην Αθήνα μόλις είχαν έρθει για τη νέα τους έκθεση στην γκαλερί Eliades. Πήγαμε έτσι συμβολικά έναν περίπατο για να φτάσουμε και να συζητήσουμε στην πλάκα σε ένα ταβερνάκι του παλιού καιρού που μας χαλάρωσε έτσι ώστε να αρχίσει μια ενδιαφέρουσα συζήτηση. Είμαστε με τους Gilbert George με αφορμή την έκθεσή τους εδώ στην Αθήνα. Η έκθεσή τους λέγεται London Pictures και δεν αφορά μόνο το Λονδίνο, αφορά και την Αθήνα και όλες τις μεγάλες πόλεις. Η αγριότητα, η επιθετικότητα, η απελπισία, ενδεχομένως η ελπίδα ή ο άλλος δρόμος. Θα τους καλησπερίσουμε λοιπόν. Welcome in Athens, Gilbert George.
Thank you very much.
I think it's your third, fourth time that you come here to the city.
Fifth time, yes. First in 1981.
Yes, last 10 years, 4 times. But they want us here, that's why we come here.
That's why. It's a city which is different from other European cities maybe, especially these last years that we have the crisis, but we'll discuss about it later. I remember when I came in London 2001, we were discussing about your decision to live in that place, in that neighborhood. And I can connect that part of your narrative with your work now, London Pictures. What have changed so many years in this neighborhood, in the city in London?
It never stopped changing. Every day it's different, every week it's different, every evening it's different. Now it's wilder than it's ever been.
It was extraordinary because you had the Huguenots in 17th century. The Huguenots, they were chucked out of France, they ended up in the east end of London. Then you had all the Jewish people into what you call in 1900, they all moved to London and they all moved to east end of London. And now you have the Bangladeshi and now you have all the artists, everything that is creative is in the east end of London. It's just unbelievable. It's not English, it's like Babylon. Everybody wants to be there and all young, they're all young. It's an amazing center of art and creativity. Just extraordinary.
So when we always said sex, money, race, religion, that could be the title of the history of that district, in fact. They were chucked out of France for religious reasons, yes, discrimination because of race, the money, everything. It's all, the history of these things could be written with those 4 words, really. And now it's changing enormously because it became very, very European and very, very Oriental. So people who come from small towns or villages in Spain or in Japan, who see their parents every day, they see the same shopkeeper, they see the old school teacher, the local policeman. They find that constraining. So they come to London, they come to the district. We all say the district where we live. They call it the destination. And they sit on the edge of the street with their feet in the gutter and eat a meal out of the doors. And they feel a great freedom.
They feel free, they're away from the parents for the first time.
I can see that. But do you remember when you were telling about the 4 meanings that people are, occupied with, which is life, death, hope, and fear. Okay, and now I should add some more words like crisis, poverty, hope. Is there another way? How do you feel in this age, watching all these people that you described before, living their lives in poverty, in crisis? What happens now? Is there another way to live their lives there?
It's very strange because all that is so relative, so that even tramps have a structure, a system. Some feel better off than the others, some feel superior to the others. It's very complex in that way. We have tramps who visit us every day, who we feel very privileged to have their company. They would never regard themselves as tramps. They would never say they were in poverty, even though they are.
It's extraordinary because they knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning. One boy and one girl. They all, during the day they get totally drunk, and then they sleep rough somewhere, and then the next day they knock on the door. But they are always optimistic. It is incredible. With nothing, we are all miserable compared to them. I mean, we have it all, but they have nothing, and we give them every day what we call £2, in the morning, and we make them coffee to sober up maybe. It's quite interesting for us because you see a different world through these eyes and through these brains.
So even when it's raining in the morning and everyone else would say it was a miserable morning, they would say, I don't think it's going to be much. Or they would say, I don't think it will last.
So it's very good for us to keep down to earth, to see these people every day. You feel you are not up in the clouds. You are down to earth.
And when you think of poverty or wealth, or we have one very simple history financially. We never borrowed anything, and we only lent money once, and it didn't come back. That's our only history. But we know where we go for dinner is regarded by a lot of people as a trendy new district where it's possible to buy a house for not too much money, which is true. But it's also true that a lot of people are moving there who could afford much, much more. They could live in Kensington or Chelsea. They want to live in that district. It's not because of financial constraint. It's a choice. They're almost hoping to be mugged, to be edgy and trendy. Yeah?
And it's very interesting in London because around the corner, like Saturday, we go to the working cafes. Used to be all in Italian. No? Now they are not Italian anymore. They're all Turkish. No? And they're doing the English breakfast, bacon and eggs and all the stuff, the bacon, all the stuff. And we go there, and it's very tasty, and it's extraordinarily cheap. That we are amazed by, like £2.50
for lunch or for breakfast.
So you can decide for yourself where you want to be.
The road sweepers and the truck drivers can have a very inexpensive, good quality meal. And the Turkish people, they're Alidi Muslims. They're very gentle, very great. They know a little who we are, but not a lot. But they're very proud that some artists go there. And he always says, how are my favourite bizarre artists? He's very good looking.
You know, I'm impressed again with your observation in the society, in your neighborhood, because if you look so close to your neighborhood, then you look also so close in the environment that you are living in the planet, I can say. So, and I always, Gilbert and George, when I'm listening to you, I think of Dickens, but in another way. I mean, literature is something else, but narrative in your work, it's also literature in a way. I would want to discuss about these new pieces, new work. How did you decide to put all these hard elements in your work? Always, when we look at your work, we have the feeling that we have two parallel things: life and death, beauty and drama. Here we have only drama, and this is very interesting for me. And I want to ask you, why? What happened?
It happened very, very slowly. It happened because we saw them for 30 years. We never actually took the picture. And I think 10 years ago, for the first time, we took an image of one of these posters. And then 4 or 5 years later, we took many images. We collected this poster and we did the bomb pictures out of it. And we realized that these posters, everyday posters, they tell an extraordinary story. They are very simple, very direct, and they are not invented. And we don't have to invent them either. We are able to create like a landscape, a townscape modern townscape of today, without us making big decisions.
Yeah, we think they are the fabric of our world. So that when you sit in a room, maybe you spend 10 or 20 years, some people live and die in the same house they're born in. Yeah? That's the fabric of their world. And the newspaper posters are that in a way. We had a great relationship with the man at Liverpool Street who sold the Evening Standard every day. And he was old when we were students, and he was always very polite. We never exchanged a conversation. And he got older and older. And sometimes we got worried about it because it was the winter, he was out of doors. And then one day he said he wanted to give us something, he wanted to recite a poem to us. And he recited a very small poem which clearly has never been published. And within 2 weeks he died. So that was he wanted to give us something before he went. Yeah?
But the poem is very dirty.
The poem is very shocking because he was a very respectable man. Yes, his mother was even older. She sold newspapers on the other side of the street. And the poem goes like this: My sister Lily is a whore down Piccadilly. My mother is another down the Strand. My father sells his arsehole down the Elephant and Castle. We're the finest fucking family in the land. And this is from a complete stranger on all social terms. And it must be an Edwardian. It must be 120 years old or something.
Yeah.
Extraordinary.
Really?
It's a treasured piece of unprinted literature.
My mommy is a baker, yum yummy, yum yummy. My daddy is a dentist, My sister is a show-off, okey pokey. My brother is a cowboy, look this way, look that way, bang bang.
We have the attacks, which is, the main element in the work. I mean, even if it is not written all the time, but you have the feeling of an attack. Okay, let's discuss
Quite
about this.
extraordinary, because for 6 years, when we decided we wanted to collect to make an artwork, we didn't know exactly where we were going. So we collected 3,712 posters.
Amazing number.
And we had to steal them, because they wouldn't give it to us.
Okay.
So we had to avoid stealing what you call.
How do you do that? I cannot imagine you in the streets in London. Everybody knows you.
doing that.
We became very expert.
What time of the day do you go do that?
In the evening.
In the evenings we collect them. During the day there's too much people around to see. And we had a system where we would wait for a few moments in case the shopkeeper inside went to do something, so the view of the street was, and then we stole it very quickly. But normally in the evenings the shopkeeper's sitting there looking out into the street. So one of us goes in to distract his attention by buying some chewing gum or something, whilst the other one steals the poster.
Okay.
And it's very difficult, so the poster rack is metal, so so you have to be very careful not to make a
You have to
noise.
open the gate and take it out.
Okay.
And the other one is buying the, what you call, Mars bars inside.
And one day, as I was distracting the assistant by saying we need this special chewing or something, and Gilbert made the rack rattle, so the head of the assistant went towards the scene of the crime. And I said, may I say that's a wonderful new hairstyle? Oh, do you think so? Yes, what is it? And again, we got away. You have to think very quick.
And then we had to make decision how to separate them into subjects, no?
Yeah, because
so we started to make a lot of piles, like the ones that have murder in it, the ones who have sex in it, ones have women in it, ones have gun in it, or suicide. So we created these 291 piles, and the biggest piles were murder, and money
And sex.
They were the biggest 3 piles.
Why could that be?
So we have categories. We have the student, the battered, sex attacker, and we have also children straight, gunman straight. Some explanations, please, about this.
We realised at a very early stage how the messages on these posters touch something very deep inside of us. So that at first we thought we would ask the shopkeeper to keep yesterday's poster for us, because they only throw it away. And the moment we went in and said, would you be very kind and keep yesterday's poster every day for us? Why would you want to do that? What's on the sex? Are you they're very suspicious and very anti and very aggressive. Because for him to give us a poster with rape on is already in some way involving him. So, and then we realised we had to steal them. And then of course one evening we were walking to dinner and we passed a block of flats where you see all the front doors, these terrace flats. And we saw a policeman and a policewoman pressing the doorbell. And we thought, my God, what is about to unfold in that family? Some disaster that will perhaps last 60 or more years. There's the shame, the unhappiness. Who's going to telephone the school tomorrow to say that? Who's going to telephone the grandmother? A nightmare, no? Because the poster's gone immediately. But that human tragedy is living on massively.
Even we realize that all if they want to sell newspaper, they cannot have happy subjects. They have to be miserable. They have to be
They can't be boring.
they cannot be boring. It's like, in fact, like a film. Nobody goes to see a film that doesn't have shooting or murder or sex and all the stuff. So in some way, probably even to sell newspaper, you need these subjects all the time. And even at the same time, they are true. No? They are all killing each other, murder, the student, this, rape and all that. It's the modern world, but it is freedom of the press. And that's very important. Freedom of expression, we realize is more and more important, because we realize that more than maybe 3/4 of the world, you don't have freedom of the press and not freedom of expression, because you are not allowed, because you are being stopped by the religions trying to stop you, or states trying to stop you. And that's very important, to be a free person. We only want the artist to be a free person, to be able to say whatever he wants. That's so important.
That's why to the person who says they're rather depressing pictures, we say, yes, but would you agree to live in a society where there's no rape, no murder, no robbery, no attacks? Because that would be a society where we would all be made into zombies completely, right?
What about
We also said we find it depressing. Not so depressing as those crucifixion pictures in every national gallery in the world. and people look at a crucifixion and see it and say, oh, it's beautiful, so beautiful. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we admire murder through art, like the lion in the zoo.
Yes.
Okay, but yourselves now in these pictures, for some years I remember previous works that we always are in your work, and you move in your work, or you stand, especially you stand in your work. But this time you are like zombies. Okay, it's written, it's not mine.
Like spirits, like reflections,
Exactly.
like memories.
Yeah.
No, that's what we
But
try.
what kind of reflections are they? Are they reflections of ourselves to the other?
We achieved it, first of all, by being for the first time behind everything. We're never in front of the main subject. The texts are always in violet, yeah? So we're always behind. And we never went out of our way to make good images this time. We don't want a good image. So just how if you pass a door and if somebody pokes their head out, it's roughly good enough, yeah? Or a reflection in a car, or a passerby just... Not good.
Intentionally we wanted to do bad images. And they create this amazing atmosphere of like an evening walk or evening spirit through London, especially where we live. You know? Like you're walking into it's very much like a Dickens story in some way. You know? It really is like that. And that was full of turmoil and full of morally. I think that's very important for us. Art means
Morality.
the moral.
Moral dimension.
The moral dimension, how the behavior of human beings today, how we are part of changing the morality of today. That's part of our art. It always has been. It's not total, but we are part of it. With other people.
We remembered that Dickens had been very, very traumatized by his father going to debtor's jail. At that time there were jail for people who owed money. And we thought, why don't we know when that stopped in history? I have no idea of the date when they stopped putting people into prison for debt. We say to young people from different countries, when did divorce become legal in your country? And they imagine something. They say, oh, it would have been probably I was 70. And the moment they've imagined, they decide that's the truth. It never is. Yeah? We say, when was the death penalty abolished? Oh, we never had it. Nobody knows these simple, important historical facts. It's extraordinary.
It's all memory. It's never real. You know? And memory can change from day to day, and from person to person can see the same image in a different way. So we don't see what you call
The actuality.
The actuality is only for 1 second, and the rest is all memory.
People all walk up and down the street outside, seeing something different and thinking something different. Everybody. There is no actual real street there.
Only the artists sometimes are able to freeze images. No?
Yes.
Okay, even they are full of memories. No? At least you are freezing them in time.
And you can do that easily.
We try to do that.
increasing your work and become older and older in the meaning of knowledge and experience, I mean not biologically, you are so perfect well, how do you experience the idea of being Gilbert and George? You are two personalities at one, and this is always strange for us. How do you handle this so many years, and how do you feel now? I mean, through experience, through work, through dialogue, through the working in the night to cut the papers and things like this. How do you experience that in this specific time of your life?
Probably in simple terms, I think we achieved that by being two people but one artist. That was roughly how it was able to proceed.
I'm always asking because we don't want to forget that. I mean, and we don't want to take it for granted. I mean, it's okay, it's normal. No, it's not. I mean, it's unusual and it's always perfect and wonderful.
But there is a goal in front of us.
Oh.
There is what you call, we want to reach that place, you know, that is always in front of us. And for that we what you call, we
Do it all.
do it all for that. Day and night we would work for that. You know, compromising, accepting all without asking too many questions. We don't ask questions. Why and all this stuff.
The pictures ask questions, yeah?
But
For us.
because in the end, only the result is important for us. The result, what we are able to do. The rest we don't want to know too much. No?
We always say that the result is when the pictures are finished, the galleries or the museums hang them on the walls. It's the opening of the private view. We're standing there with a glass of wine, surrounded by teenagers licking us all over.
But it's very
Because we always had and we have an increasing following amongst young people. It's very exciting. Even when we went to Brazil recently, all the young people are crazy about our pictures.
the extraordinary story is once you what you call you have this enormous exhibition like let's say the Tate Modern or in Paris, and the next day you have to start all over again.
All over again.
That's
From the
it.
beginning.
Thank goodness.
All over again.
Ίσως θα σας φανεί παράξενο, αλλά είμαστε εδώ με τους Gilbert George σε ένα ταβερνάκι στην Πλάκα με αφορμή την έκθεσή τους στην Αθήνα. Η έκθεσή τους λέγεται London Pictures, αποτελείται από tabloid, από εφημερίδες τις οποίες έχουν επανασυνθέσει με τους εαυτούς τους μέσα όσους συνήθως κάνουν, αλλά αυτή τη φορά με έναν άλλον τρόπο. There is always a question mark about your work that has to do with the way that you compose technically and sentimentally and morally the pictures. How do you do this? You take something which is small and then you make it great and huge and then you put yourself in that, and it's like a manifesto for us, like you've already discovered after a huge research what is going on here, and you tell us about this.
We're thinking all the time. We're feeling all the time. We're seeing all the time. We're looking.
It's an investigation, actually.
Yes, last week we found on Brick Lane very early in the morning the sweeper sweeping up after the party night, because every night is a party there. So all the Spanish teenagers have gone home, and the streets littered with 1,000 beer cans, 100,000 bottles, 100,000 crisp bags, and also a lot of small metal containers, looking like small bombs that long. And they're all different because some have been stepped on, some are through. They're all the same, but they're different. They're like people. They're all one family, but not one is alike. And what are they? Why are they on the street? And the sweeper explained to us that they are filled with helium that you use if you have a big party for children to blow up all the balloons. But the young people are using them together with alcohol in order to achieve a high-pitched voice.
like girls, speaking like girls and laughing non-stop, like laughing gas, roughly.
And there are hundreds and hundreds of these things, so we collected a lot of those and
Yes,
put them away.
and at the same time we have a sweeper that we call the litter picker, who has one kind of scissors that he picks up a little piece of paper. And he had long hair, and we thought, my God, he looks like Jesus, this person.
There's a little beard as well.
And so we started to talk to
We talked to
him.
him and he said he's very polite and has learnt English from a very upper middle class person, rather surprisingly. So he doesn't have a regional accent. So though he sounds slightly Czech, he's very correct, his diction. So he's from the Czech Republic. And I'm a student, and maybe ask what you're studying. I'm studying the Bible.
Okay.
So our Jesus theory was right.
Okay.
And he's very charming, very clever.
But is this a way to get out of crisis, maybe? I mean, the way to believe very much or insist in the idea of a belief? Do you think that it's a way to get out of crisis?
Originality.
Yeah,
Originality.
originality.
We say to everyone, money problems are not very original. They existed from the dawn of time. Owing, borrowing, being out of money, being rich, being poor. There's nothing original about it. Even demonstrating, everybody wants to demonstrate. There's nothing original about that either. We need something original. Like a pop star comes along and wants to become a new pop star, he has to think of something original. It won't be good to do it like the last one. Originality is such a key in politics, in art, in novels, poetry.
I mean, we are not so good because we are old-fashioned people, so we never spend we are looking at ourselves in a big old-fashioned way.
Well, yeah, that's not bad. I mean, this is traditional.
And even like we like to spend all our money towards art.
As long as we have it.
We don't need anything ourselves. We have a house that we bought 40 years ago. We have collection that we bought with little things, but the rest, everything that we make is all towards what you call art. So in that way, the money is moving. The only way. Spending money.
Through art.
And buying and spending. That's the only way.
We always want to live within our means. A lot of our young people, they like to live up to the hilt. So when there's £10 left in the bank, it's much better before that, to leave 100 or however little, not to work right to that level.
I was thinking about cities and big cities like London, Athens. As we said in the beginning, it's not a big city, but it's a problematic city. What's your opinion about the way that people live their lives in the cities nowadays? I mean, not only the neighborhood that you are living in and that we are inspired in, but you travel a lot. You've seen so many cities in the world, and you've seen people in the streets day and night. What do you think that people, how they will survive these days? They are desperate. You can see that. What do you think about this? What do you propose as an artist? Because artists are a kind of hope.
Of course, people say that they're desperate, they're in crisis, but at the same time, we think it's very important to remember that we're all living in a privileged age. Never did so many people travel to so many countries. Never did people have so much access to information. Anyone can go to different universities all over the world. The 2 world wars are over and done with. It's extraordinary privileged time in some way.
I mean, maybe we don't ought to ask because we have London is extraordinary. It's booming. Just extraordinary. And big cities, we love big cities. But we love especially big cities like London because everybody is a mixture. It's like Babylon. It's not like a Chinese city where they only speak Chinese. Or if you go to even like Paris, it's less, they only speak French. But English became the language of Europe, of the world, so everybody is able to communicate in London. So in that way it's totally different, like New York, London. They're different than other cities. If you go to Madrid, you have to speak Spanish, no? So in that moment we are not so international anymore, no? But London has this center of an island of modern life that everybody is allowed to be part of it.
It's more universal.
Oh yes.
That way. Yeah.
And curiously, most people, probably 80% of the people in England, think that every capital city in the world is roughly the same population as London, and that every country in the world is roughly the same population as Britain. This is far from the truth, but we don't think some cities are smaller, some are bigger. We don't think like that. They all have a flag, they all have a nationality, and we think them equal in a way. With the jackfruit pictures, we're exploring all the aspects of state, statehood, regionalism, tribalism, nationalism, together with the freak.
The freak is quite important. Well, now that we are getting older, if we close our eyes, we see ourselves quite in a different way. It feels like small pieces falling down from the sky and joining together in strange forms. And we like very much the whole idea to put on top of this freakish person that you can see, this Union Jack, the symbol of nationhood, and the freak.
I think we're using the Union flag because it is not a single flag, it's 3 flags in one. And it's very interesting that the extreme right would like to steal the Union flag, and the extreme left would like to disown it. But of course they're both wrong, so there must be a middle path which is honourable. And we're trying to do that in a very confrontational way.
Even because in some way the Jack is the symbol of a nation. Every nation has a flag, and everybody is depends what's going on. Like the nation, like now, they all would like to burn the American flag or the English flag in Afghanistan. And so all the young people would like to spit on the English flag. So it has so many different feelings. Once you say flag, everybody is up in arms in many different ways. And we felt we pressed the right button there, that everybody needs a discussion. Are you allowed? Should we? Or it is important because after all, every day when the Queen is in Buckingham Palace, the flag is waving.
Is the Queen battered? What is happening with the Queen here?
Battered. There she is. Well, we like that we used the Queen because we felt we wanted somebody to preside over the pictures. Somebody above us. We thought for a moment to have a policeman's head. But even that's not good enough. We wanted something even more grand.
The stamp of approval, like you have in your passport,
Yes.
to say yes.
Yes, exactly.
Or like what you call these timbers that they put on a certificate or something like that. That's what we wanted. And we're using it from the money. We took it from the images are taken
Coins.
from coins,
Exactly.
or £1 coin. And they are all different. Every single one is different. So it's quite extraordinary because when we met these what you call dealers, they came to see it. And they were so horrified to see the murder and the Queen's head next to it, or what you call rape and this Queen head of it. So it's shocking some way. It's quite extraordinary. They didn't even get in touch. Nothing. We didn't ask permission.
So of course she does preside over all of that anyway.
At least in England, she is this what you call the cloud on top of everybody who is not elected. That's quite interesting because if she would be elected, she would be chucked out every 2 or 3 years.
The royal family's been through much the same as everyone else anyway. They've had murders, they've had rapes, they've had everything within that history. Yeah.
What do you think that royal family would say about your work? How should they behave in front of this picture?
I think it's very, very simple because we are not anti-establishment, but the artists all are, 99%. All the artists have a problem with the royal family in some way and opinion. We don't. We accept it completely. We like the idea of being subjects rather than citizens. To think that we always have someone there, and there always will be somebody. Any idiot can become elected, but a hereditary head of state is very powerful. It's an intellectual organisation for state. She's the head of the church and of the country.
That is very interesting because they create a circumstance that we are able to be artists, and that's very important to us. That's freedom. And like even Margaret Thatcher, who everybody hated so much, we thought they always ask us about her, if she would like our work. She doesn't have to like our work. She only has to arrange free market economy that if we can sell our work, it's much better.
How many artists could agree with you now if they listen to you? Okay. We thank you so much, Gilbert George.
pleasure.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Thank you very
Very
much.
sweet. Very nice to see you again. Wonderful.